We might accuse the classical Greeks of having a bit of tunnel vision. And by that I mean that they really think that the world itself can kind of be a larger polis, a cosmopolis, right? It can be a city-state. And the Romans really see the world much differently. They think the entire world is a city where every person can enjoy privileges of citizenship. And unlike the Greeks, Romans never really think that good life is possible only within the city-state, but rather can be achieved beyond it. For Rome, somebody's virtue, somebody's honor, somebody's success can be cultivated really anywhere and anytime. So where Greeks had a very distinct idea of public and private roles in life, the Romans don't. And for them, and we'll see this probably best exemplified when we get to Marcus Aurelius, is that the height of one's wisdom, the ideal Roman, is going to know his duty or her duty and then do it, and do it for the good of Rome rather than for self-interest, which is very dramatically opposed to what a lot of the philosophers we saw in Greece promoting. The ones that they fall in line with, if you remember going back several weeks now, are clearly the Stoics. And so Roman philosophy is oftentimes kind of this type of Stoic philosophy where the goal is to figure out how to do good beyond what is good for yourself. Lots of people have argued, and I've already done this a little bit too, that Roman culture was in many ways just kind of a translation of Greek culture. But that also really undermines a lot of the genius that is Rome. And I guess the way that we can look at this is to kind of ask the question of how is it that Romans were able to see the entire world as a civilization rather than something that is just Greek and polis based? Well, there's a variety of ways that we can think about this. Romans are attempting to provide good life for themselves, but also for others. They are very forward-looking in terms of even their history composition, in trying to build a world that is composed of diverse elements and people. We can see this starting with early Romans and their associations with neighboring folks. We can see it as Caesar grants citizenship to people throughout Rome. But basically, they want the empire itself to become synonymous with the world as a whole. Greeks tended to be pessimistic about life. And on the flip side, Romans tended to be much more optimistic. Greeks saw chaos in the world and tried to bring order out of it. Romans experienced that same chaos, but they actually created specific ways to try and develop that order. So Roman culture is very much optimistic, has faith in man's ability to deal with that chaos. It kind of exudes a sense of confidence in ability to face unknown challenges, which Romans certainly did. And what's really important here, unlike the Greeks, the Romans were able to translate that into action. And probably the best proof of this is just the empire itself. Maybe the Greeks were a little too intellectual, but we see that after a common enemy, they fall back to fighting amongst themselves. Alexander's successor kingdoms, same type of thing. None of them last for more than a couple hundred years. The Roman Empire, if you want to take its longest view, lasts until the fall of Constantinople in the 15th century. So I think that's probably a good little segue, and hopefully brief enough here with 4 minutes. Let's now pick up with kind of how these ideals get put into action with Augustus's successors.